Welcome back to Launch Speed. I am your culinary master, Zach, joined by my incredibly inept sous chef, Brendan, as we fillet the world's most relevant events on our epic journey to get lost in the sauce.
Perfect. Here drinking this Leinenkugel. I'm not as inept as you might say, but that's irrelevant.
But you are underwhelming.
I could go for that, yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm about to feed you minutes from now.
Roll the tape.
There's multiple shapes and sizes. To decide that a real fat guy is just a bear and it's hitting an animal.
Oh, it's not gonna hit a bear.
Well, yeah, I know that. It will determine the
Launch speed.
Stop! I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put my words together. You're rushing me.
Am I helping?
No, not at all. No one else can see my hands.
Welcome to Launch Speed.
Once again, another day, another dollar. How was your fucking week, my man?
It was good. I don't know why there's so much hostility here. No, it was good. Couple things I'm excited about this week.
Really?
I had some very good workouts this week. Bunch of new PRs for stuff. And that's just exciting.
So you can finally do just the bar on bench?
I can find, the girl bar.
Right.
Was that 15 pounds?
Or 25?
25 pounds? Yeah,
depending on who you're asking.
Yeah. That, and I took my bow out on Friday. Or Thursday.
Your bow?
Yeah, my archery bow.
Oh, when you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Bow, my compound bow for hunting.
Oh.
I took it out.
Prop?
Shut up. I took it out. I fired some shots. It was nice. Getting back into it. Gonna be prepped for hunting season this year.
What is the weight on that sucker?
63 pounds.
Why is it such an exact number?
That's just what I had it set to.
All right.
I don't know. I was just like, 60 seems too low. 70 is too high. 63 is also too high. 60 is also high. I mean, you only need 40 pounds. 40 pounds more or less to kill a whitetail and 50 to kill an elk. So 63 is really just...
Overkill?
You
don't have to get as close then, right?
Well, I mean, that's not up to the bow. That's up to me and how well I can actually shoot it.
Gotcha.
But,
dude, Game of Thrones premiered, and let me tell you, it was disappointing. It goes in my dislikes of the week.
I would put it in the excitements.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you like the episode?
It wasn't the most interesting episode, but it's like got me back in that Game of Thrones, like, I don't know, mindset. I'm like ready for it.
You know how excited I am not to stay up for a single episode now?
Why?
Because I'm going to bed at 9 on Sunday nights.
I mean, yeah, that's probably good because the later episodes are going to be an hour and a half.
I can't do it.
Yeah, that'd be 10:30, and you have to get up at 5 o'clock? 4 o'clock?
I have to get up at 4:30.
4:30? Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
So I'll just text you on Sunday night what happens. And then,
sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I never open my phone, ever.
See, the thing is, if I don't watch it on Sunday night, it's going to be spoiled for me on Monday. Like,
how?
Just because of when I look at the news.
Oh.
I look at the news, and there's so many, like, Game of Thrones things, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, that's always a fucking bummer.
Yep. So I've just decided that I'm going to watch it on Sunday, and I mean, I'll stay up till 10:30 or whatever. What was your
favorite part of this week's episode?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Who cares? If they're not watching it now, they're never going to watch it.
That's not true. My parents were like, we're going to wait until the whole thing's done and then we'll watch the whole thing. And
I'm
like, okay.
I'm going to make sure I go over there and ruin some things.
So, I don't want to spoil it. I don't know, man. Did you have any other likes or dislikes of the week?
I also had some great workouts this week.
Yeah.
I also hit some PRs.
Yeah.
It was a good gym week for both of us.
Yeah.
We don't work out together.
No.
Because I've done that before, and I'm just not a big fan of working out with you.
Same. You're just so weak. Ooh. I just have to pick so many weights up.
Oh, yeah. I use the motivation of death to get the weight up.
Yeah. You're like, if I can't get it up, then I'm going to die. So I better get it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I do, except for it's more like tearing of my ligaments and tendons because I only use dumbbells and I don't have anyone spot me. So if I drop it the wrong way, then bad things will happen.
My dislikes of the week. Game of Thrones sucked ass. Hands down, one of the worst episodes they've put out.
Do you think it was just boring?
Boring, unnecessary. They weren't setting up anything, like a lot of things up.
Yeah, they were.
No, they weren't. Okay. What were they setting up?
Again, I don't want to talk about the specifics. We'll talk about it later. How about that?
Dude,
Well,
all right.
we can argue about it later.
All right, let's argue
But
about it.
I
later.
thought it was good. It wasn't the most exciting episode, but it's really got me excited for what's to come. I mean,
What's coming?
What?
Nothing.
Winter? So it's pretty exciting. Did you have anything else?
Dislike-wise?
Yeah.
No. Nothing I want to put on air.
So the only other thing that I had was I hate cable companies. This is pretty widespread thought or view that a lot of people share. So I wanted to watch the Caps game on Thursday, but I don't have NBC Sports Washington, which is its own channel that's been rebranded from whatever it was before. It was like Comcast Mid-Atlantic or something like that. So in order to watch that, I would have to upgrade my cable package.
To what?
It would be an extra $40 a month in order to watch it. And because the package that I have is no longer offered, I could never downgrade. So it would be an extra $40 a month forever. No, sorry, I take that back. An extra $40 a month for a year, and then it'd be an extra $60 a month compared to what I'm paying now.
Yo.
And I could never downgrade.
And they wonder why we all move to streaming services.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only reason I even wanted any kind of television with my cable package was so that we could watch Caps games, and I only get like half of them. Not even half, it's just the big ones. But luckily we do get the one tonight, so that's the important thing. And if you're listening to this on Monday, I'm so glad the Caps are up 3-2. One more game to go.
Nobody's going to listen to this podcast if they find out that you said this prior to them playing and they've lost.
Well, if they lose, I'll just edit it out tomorrow.
Oh, deal.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Did you have anything looking ahead for us? I mean...
No, I mean,
what about for you?
I start on my job site on Monday. I'm looking forward to that.
Real hands-on stuff?
All hands on. I will be one of 4 people who speak English.
Wow. Out of how many?
There's 104 of us after Monday.
Wow. 4 out of 104?
Yep.
Where are you saying English is a primary language, or
Yes.
you speak English at all?
No, English is a primary language.
Okay, that's better because
Not really. No.
It's a little better.
Have you dealt with people in the construction industry who kind of speak English?
I've been in a foreign country.
Doesn't count.
All right.
These people.
I've dealt with people who barely speak English.
I'm just gonna ask. I want to point to something and be like, "What do you call this?" And that's all I want to know.
Man, you're gonna learn Well, I'm assuming it's Spanish. Maybe
Yeah.
it's Dutch. I don't know. You're gonna learn Spanish by the end of this job.
Gonna learn a lot of Spanish.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't particularly care to, but I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, it'll help you out.
Yeah.
People will respect you more.
And also, since the high turnover rate is with the Spanish-speaking community, it's going to be good for me to know Spanish because not everyone coming in is going to know English.
Yep. So that's good. I guess I didn't really have any other things looking ahead.
Dude, Game of Thrones was pirated 55 million times.
In the first 24 hours. Yeah.
What?
That's all around the world. I think it's something like 10 million in the US or something like that. But the problem is, in Europe, for example, there's some countries in Europe, you can't get just HBO. You have to add it on to your cable package, again with the cable companies. And so if you don't do that, or if you don't have like TV or whatever, you can't watch Game of Thrones. So their only option is to pirate it.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
kudos to them.
that's more than most TV shows get, like, viewership wise ever.
Yes.
I mean, that's absolutely absurd. 55 million is just about like a sixth of the U.S. population.
Jeez. So, do you know how many people viewed it?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
I was interested.
I don't think HBO releases those numbers.
Gotcha. What's your guess?
My guess, probably 200 million.
I'll go with just under 300.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I feel like it's got to be high.
You taking the Price is Right strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it could be over 300. I wouldn't be surprised.
But that was just this stat was just in the first 24 hours, and it's been a week, so I bet another 20 million people pirated it at least.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, right. Podcast news. Mike had another golden email this week, and I'm going to quote him here. I'd like to thank listener Rob for letting me know when bike work bike to work day is this year, so I can dust off my Harley chopper and let her rip for the spring.
Is the bike to DC supposed to be for motorcycles?
I think it's supposed to be for unicycles
Oh, okay.
or bicycles.
Or tricycles.
Maybe.
Ooh,
Wow. How cool would that be if they made adult tricycles?
I think they do.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Although you're talking about motorcycle tricycles.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, not that cool.
No, not even. If you ride that, it's kind of pathetic.
Well, there's the guy in what's the show? Sons of Anarchy who rode one because he was disabled. So that was
True.
fine. That was a good excuse, I think, to ride one. If you still want to ride a motorcycle and you're disabled.
Kind of ride something like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That drives more like a car.
Yeah, I'd rather get one of those T-Rexes. That's the little tiny cars that's kind of motorcycle-y with the two wheels on the front and one on the back that are thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh, and it still uses a sprocket for its motor or drivetrain?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But the other podcast news, shout out to Doug, who is our new patron on Patreon. Thanks so much for
I see
subscribing.
AJ has still dropped the ball.
Yeah, well, you can't have everything.
Nope.
At
Some
least
people are
we
just-
have the important people right
Some
now.
people are just born to
Yeah.
disappoint.
And for Bear Bits, this one is super, super obscure. Right?
Let's go.
So there's a place called Kashmir, I think is how it's pronounced, but I don't know for sure.
Let's go with it.
It's in northern India, and they've been having some terrorist issues. I think that's the India-Pakistan thing,
Okay.
the area of dispute and whatever. So in 2009, a group of 4 terrorists from the Hizbul Mujahideen group were making pudding in a cave.
Pudding. Like the food pudding?
They're making pudding in a cave.
I think this is...
Terrorists in a cave making pudding. Out of nowhere, a Himalayan black bear attacked and killed 2 of them. The other 2 escaped, although one was badly wounded.
Watch out! Watch out! Ah!
We should call this bear Justice.
Bear... Wow, nice. How funny would it be if... Well, I'm not funny, but how ironic would it be if Bear Grylls was eventually met his demise to a bear?
That would be ironic. And also kind of funny.
And kind of funny.
And that makes me want to watch that You versus Wild thing. See if you can get Bear Grylls killed by a bear in that show.
I bet they didn't film it.
I bet they didn't.
They said they filmed everything. They're liars.
They could just CGI it.
That's lame.
Yeah.
I want to see Bear Grylls mauled. Not dead. Mauled would be fine.
All right. That's it for the Bear Bits. Moving on to the news. So last week we talked about the Israeli moon lander that failed, crashed in the...
It landed. We discussed that it landed.
They
Not
kind
the
of landed, I guess. I mean,
Not-
not successfully.
Yeah.
But so they're going to try again.
How soon?
I don't know how soon they're going to try again, but the point is they're trying again, and hopefully they do better this time. Better luck next time.
I would hope so. That'd be hilarious. They could put 2 on the ground.
That would be funny.
At
I mean, it seems like it was just an equipment malfunction because the engine stopped and then they couldn't restart it. So it was by definition an equipment malfunction.
Maybe it's just not kosher.
Oh, wow. Okay. Skipping past that. Unfortunately, I'm sure everyone's heard that Notre Dame had some heat issues this week.
Notre Dame Cathedral had some heat issues.
Not the college.
Notre
Dame
touchdown
Cathedral.
Jesus is still fine.
Notre Dame Cathedral, yeah. So there was a fire which started in the dome. Their best guess right now is that it was some kind of an electrical short circuit. It is an 850-year-old cathedral. It took them 9 hours to fight the fire.
9 hours.
Yeah.
I that seems kind of short for as large of a building as it is, and how much news it received. It seemed like it was just engulfed in flames, which it was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a firefighter, so I don't know what the typical large building fighting fire scale is.
On the scale of this, I don't know. It's a big building, though. I learned, though, that Notre Dame actually has bees on the roof. They have 3 beehives on the roof of the first floor. And why is my first question.
That is why, yeah.
But the bees survived. I mean, there's about 180,000 bees on there.
What?
60,000 per hive. There's 3 hives. It's 180,000.
And all the bees survived?
All the bees. Well, I'm not saying all of them, but the hives themselves survived. If it got above, I think it's 60 degrees Celsius, then the wax would have melted and all the bees would have been glued together. But that didn't happen. So the bees are
I wonder if
okay.
there's like a priest standing outside, not the bees.
Well, apparently some guy was thinking that because I don't know. I really don't know what the purpose of this is. I mean, it's in the middle of a city, right? There's not like a whole lot of stuff to pollinate.
I bet that like 30 years ago, they were like, man, have you seen a bee in the city?
They put them in 2013.
Yeah, so it's just some hippie movement to put bees back in the city.
I guess. Probably okay, I take it back. Not the worst part about this incident, but one of the bad parts about this incident is YouTube really made a big mistake. So in videos of the cathedral burning, they had links to videos of 9/11, which is, wow, totally wrong. Especially because this had nothing to do with terrorism, had nothing to do, probably had nothing to do with criminal arson. And they just put links to 9/11 videos in there.
Videos you might like.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I know it's the algorithm, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
come on, guys. Like, it's not even close.
There should be nothing about 9/11 besides like typing the term 9/11 in that brings you to a 9/11 video.
Right. Also, with this, one of the cooler things is that Ubisoft, who had a game, Assassin's Creed Unity, which took place in Paris during the Revolution, and they included the Notre Dame Cathedral more or less in its current state, even though some of the additions weren't built during the time the game took place. But they donated $500,000, which for them is just a drop in the bucket, but it's substantial to the reconstruction of the building. And they also made that game free.
They made
Assassin's Creed Unity free.
Oh, I might get it now.
Yeah, so I think it's free on PC, and people review bombed the game with lots of positive comments and saying, "You go Ubisoft for doing this." And obviously, it's a publicity stunt,
Yeah.
but it's still, the mindset's there. It's in the right place. Their heart's in the right place. I
It's
guess.
still it's an underwhelming amount, which I kind of hate saying that $500,000 is an underwhelming amount. But there's like a guy, a French billionaire, who promised to donate $220 million right off the bat.
Which is, I mean, I guess it depends on how many billions he has, but that's a fifth of a billion.
Yeah, that's a substantial amount.
100 times more than the average American makes in their lifetime. The average American makes about $2 million in their lifetime. This guy donated 100 times that for the reconstruction of some building.
So, correction, since Alexa over here believes that I wanted that to be searched, it's $500 million to rebuild.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can't do the math for 5 to 2, but it's a lot of money, regardless.
5 to 2. That's too much.
Moving on from that, CRISPR. Have we talked about CRISPR before?
We definitely mentioned CRISPR. It's the gene editing.
Yeah, they take like bacteria to edit DNA sequences or whatever, something like that. Its first trials in the U.S. is now happening. There are 2 patients with different kinds of cancer where the treatment wasn't working. So they took out some of their cells. Immune cells is what I wrote down.
We'll go with it. We don't have to be accurate. It's launch speed.
Yeah. They took out some of their cells. They modified them and they put them back into their body in the hopes that they modified these cells in such a way that it attacks cancer.
Wait, didn't they make a movie about this?
Did
about
they?
using cells in the human body to attack cancer cells?
I don't know. Did they?
I'm pretty sure it's I Am Legend's plot.
Really?
Yes.
You're right.
It
It
is.
is.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I was thinking, like, this sounds like a sci-fi horror movie. It sounds like how, the world turns into zombies or whatever. Like,
Or just superhumans that are like enraged. That's World War Z, I think, where like zombies are like super fast.
yeah. But I mean, it's like, it's borderline creepy. But I mean, I guess for these 2 people, it's not going to be a very good study just because it's a sample size of 2.
Yeah.
And there's no control group and they have different kinds of cancer. But
I think it's great progress because cancer sucks.
yeah, but I Am Legend sucks worse.
Yes.
So
So are you gonna? What if it works?
if it works, I'm going to be very skeptical.
But 1 out of every 2 become a zombie. Is it worth doing?
Oh God, no.
Well, I mean, they're contained.
Well, yeah, I guess if you contain them. If you contain them, I guess it's fine.
So
For
can
these,
you just put down a zombie and count it as non-human life?
I don't
There's the
understand.
question. So, like, what are they going to do? They're just going to keep the zombie locked up for years? Or are they just going to kill it?
That's a good point. I think they would be better off just killing it, but
Yeah, the human rights movement would be nuts.
well, they're not humans at that point.
That's not the point.
Speaking of zombies, though,
Speaking of zombies,
they've taken pigs recently after decapitation and have been able to partially revive their brains. So they use some sort of artificial blood replacement, and they saw renewed circulation, metabolic response, and synapse activation. According to this, the amount of activation that they saw was nowhere near consciousness, but they are pretty much trying to create zombie pigs.
what if they just want to keep your head alive?
See, well, I mean, it has potential. Have you ever watched Futurama? They have the floating heads inside of the jars of famous people.
No, I've never watched Futurama.
Okay, they have floating heads.
I'll believe you though.
Yeah.
You don't have to repeat it to me.
Okay, and so that's what was referenced in this particular article. But I mean, this is starting to get sketch. Like medical science is starting to get into that sci-fi zone. I mean, there's Al Gore's floating head.
There's a book written that so the guy signed a waiver that said after he dies they can remove his brain and they'll keep one eyeball on it so he can see the world but he can't interact with it. There's no way for him to blink. It's just an eyeball. And his wife just keeps his head like in the living room for like him to see everything she's doing. And he just has to and it's like written from his perspective of like his feelings and emotions, but he can't share them with anybody.
What a terrible state of existence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. That's pretty much torture. It'd be so boring.
Would you want your head to be kept alive after death?
Well, if I could talk and be conscious, and if I could just be myself, just head, no body, then yeah. Because at some point they'll have prosthetics to the point where it can simulate an entire human body.
So
I'll just be the first Iron Man. Yeah, I'll be a cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Till we
Brendan 2.0.
it's more like
1.8?
I would say like 5.0.
5.0?
Like, it's a huge
Okay.
upgrade.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, so with these pig heads that they're reviving, there's a question of ethics, right? At what point does it become unethical to bring back this pig's head, right? If they were able to get the pig's head to complete consciousness, wouldn't that just be kind of like torture?
Because it's terrifying because this pig's just like, I've got no body.
Right. That'd be awful. I mean, there's cults, I think, in the U.S. where they bring someone to death in a cryo chamber and bring them back to life, like multiple times. Either that or it's just a TV show.
I think that's a TV show, man. There's
Either way,
no way that's happening.
I mean, so that's like super unethical, right?
So I'm now caught up on this whole cult thing you
All
brought
right.
up. What do you mean? So they're killing people and then bringing them back?
Just barely killing them.
What does that classify as?
As soon as they, I guess, die, I think they freeze them, and then as soon as they die, they bring them back to life.
That sounds like a thriller TV show.
Well, that's how you see Jesus.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a Christian cult.
It's a cult. I don't know.
It's a cult.
It's
Yeah.
not a good cult.
I would do it once.
That's pretty much all you could do it, since I think that the success rate with that would be low.
Yeah. What
But,
if I'm lucky and I get to see Jesus? He's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
I think you'd be more likely to see Lucifer.
Ooh, that's mean, man.
Ouch.
I'm not going low. I'm going high.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I made a couple promises when I was younger. I'm guaranteed into heaven now.
Moving on. The Strato launch, the world's largest plane, took flight this past week. It is a 500,000 pound plane with 2 fuselages, 6 747 engines, and a 385-foot wingspan. This thing is gigantic, and it looks kind of stupid, if I'm honest. But the purpose of this
What
thing...
if the two pilots don't agree on their turn direction?
Right?
It just rips the plane in half.
The purpose of this thing, though, is the part, that wing in between the two fuselages is going to hold a rocket or something. So the plane will take off with the rocket on it, and then it'll drop the rocket, which will then take off into space, basically conserving rocket fuel.
This is not commercial. I thought this was a commercial plane.
It is not a commercial plane. It is a commercial company doing this.
I thought this was like for commercial flights. I was thinking like,
No. That would be absurdly ridiculous. I mean, why do you need two 747s stapled together with almost 400-foot wingspan? That's crazy. Plus, in their first flight, they only went 189 miles per hour, which is incredibly slow for a plane. So this would be the worst commercial airliner ever. I mean, it would be almost as bad as airships or blimps.
oh, we all know how those end up.
Yeah.
With the General Tech, I guess that classifies as General Tech.
Planes? Yeah, I guess. I don't
So
know what else you could
iPhone, I know it's hard to believe, but they're hopping on the 5G train.
Yep.
Which I don't even know anything about, honestly. I assume it's just a cooler version of 4G.
Pretty much.
Which is an even cooler version of 3G, which I don't know how we lived on 3G, because if you've been on 3G, you can't load anything.
Right.
Nothing loads.
Yeah, it's pretty much not even working.
No.
Although, I mean, I feel like the places where you're in 3G, basically, you're not getting very good signal. Back in the day, 3G, it was okay. When you had strong 3G signal, it was okay. But just 4G just blows that out of the water.
So iPhone is having trouble with the 5G, which they can't hop on it this year. We won't expect anything in 2019. So they're in a bidding war with a couple other companies trying to get their chips to be built, and they say it'll be by the middle of next year.
I find that hard to believe, but I guess I could be wrong. The middle of next year would be summer of 2020 or so. So, I mean, one of the problems with this is there are very few, if any, 5G networks available. I think they just installed one in Chicago, but according to an article that I read, it's pretty much impossible to pick up the signal. And
Just doesn't have enough infrastructure.
yeah. And additionally, AT&T has claimed to have the first 5G network, but according to studies done, they absolutely do not, and they're just slapping a 5G brand on a 4G network.
Oh,
And
nice.
understandably, the other cell phone companies are very unhappy with that.
Who did the study?
I don't know for sure, but I think it may have been the FCC.
So, everyone loves iPhones, right? Everyone loves cars even more.
Well, I definitely like cars more than iPhones.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you don't like iPhones. They're made with small little Chinese hands.
Yeah. The owner of Foxconn, which is the factory that makes iPhone, he decided to retire finally.
Oh,
Yeah, so maybe they will have less suicide attempts.
doubtful.
Although, you know how they put the nets like on their building so that their workers would stop committing suicide?
Yeah?
Wouldn't it be really fun to just jump off into the net now?
I don't think China has that mentality of, I'm going to jump off this 100-story building for fun.
I don't think it's 100 stories.
I don't know.
Still, though. That'd just be like a giant, not trampoline. I feel like a lot of complications would come out of that. Though. If you get your foot caught in the wrong way, you'll just be maimed forever, but at least you
Yeah.
won't die.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, go on. Moving on with the cars thing.
Moving on with cars. So the New York Auto Show happened, which you've been to the DC Auto Show.
I have not.
You've not?
I've not. I've
I
never
could have
been.
sworn you went with me one year.
Yep. With
All
me.
right. So, New York Auto Show, which is a lot like the DC Auto Show if you live in this area. Hyundai
I just love how you said that.
debuted its new sporty Sonata, and I would love for our computer to pull up a picture of it because it is the most ugly vehicle I've ever seen.
Is it really?
It's
I
hit-
feel like their last Sonata model line actually didn't look that bad. I mean, it wasn't too different, but
If you have to say it's not that bad, it is that bad.
Okay,
Like, no, dude, she
well-
wasn't that bad. No, she was that bad.
Okay, all right. There are a few cars that make me legitimately furious. The Hyundai Sonata is not one of them. I think the styling is fine. It's not anything exceptional.
Sonata is, or not Sonata, but Hyundai is the only company I've ever known to make a car that's brand new look 10 years old.
Really, I would really like to see a picture of the new Sonata.
Sadly, I put a link that has a slideshow on it, so she's got to go scroll through the pictures. I did it just for her.
All right, our computer has put up a picture. I don't like that.
No, it's ugly, man.
I mean,
it is a really ugly car.
The only thing that really perturbs me is just how far forward that hood slopes. I mean, if they had stopped it a little bit, it would have been much better, but
It looks like an underbite, and if you have an underbite, I apologize for this, but if you have an underbite, you look dumb.
I don't
And it
like that
looks
that
dumb.
much. Yeah, no, I do not like that. It's like I feel like this happens with so many cars. They like almost have it, and then they just screw up one thing that ruins it for the rest of the car.
Yeah, they drew that before they built it, and they're like, man, that looks so good. Then they built it, and they're like, that looks even better. And then they debuted it, and everyone's like, it's a piece of shit.
It does not. It does not look that good. It has a new. What does that even mean? A new coupe-like look? How does something look like a coupe? It's either a coupe or it's not a coupe.
And it's a 4-door vehicle, so
Yeah.
it's not a coupe.
It doesn't look anything like it. It has 4 doors. I can clearly see 4. What kind of?
I don't know. But here's more news about cars that everyone cares about. Yaris, which we all know is the sexiest of vehicles, has now a hatchback form.
Wasn't it a hatchback already?
I think they qualified as a hatchback, but they changed the styling of it so it looked more legitimately like a hatchback, kind of like the Subaru hatchbacks.
Okay.
They didn't succeed either.
They didn't?
No.
Is it better than a Focus?
I don't know. You tell me.
Is that it?
I believe that's it.
Ooh, no. Nope. Not better than Focus.
They called Fiat and they said, what makes your car so shitty? And then they copied it.
I was just thinking that looks a lot like a Fiat Abarth. Not my favorite.
I will say, one thing I want to say about Fiat is their advertisement is perfect. That episode or the commercial where they're all driving off cliffs in Europe, I think there's nothing better to do with a Fiat than that.
Not a fan of this.
But in exciting news of cars, I have no idea how to pronounce this name, so I'm going to attempt it.
I think it's like Keanu Reeves.
Okay, so Chianti K50. It's a 450 horsepower electric car.
Yeah.
California made, Canadian owned, and debuted in New York.
Is that surprising to you?
I don't know. It looks it looks quite good though. It is a very clean looking car.
That looks kind of like a mix between a Ferrari and a McLaren.
Yeah,
it's got a fat ass. It's got a real fat ass.
I thought they did an excellent job with the styling of it. I'm still not sold on electric cars. I wouldn't want a supercar that's an electric car, but
you wouldn't want a 918, a Porsche 918.
But that's a hybrid.
That's true, but it is mainly electric. And so, I mean, I don't like the fact that you have to plug in an electric car, and that's really annoying. The range is really short, but they are so incredibly fast. Or they can be.
They're incredibly quick.
Both.
Are their top ends just can't be that high?
They're not going to be much higher than a gasoline engine. It'll be pretty much on par, but they're fine. They're quick.
Yes.
They get to the speed very, very fast because they have 100% of the torque 100% of the time. So, that being said, this is a very good looking car. I really like this a lot. Why does that say it's Chinese right there?
I don't know.
I mean, is it only going to show up in China? All right, so Chianti Motors K50 Electric Sports Coupe is going to be made and sold in the United States in 2020.
And there's all
Chianti, a Chinese car company.
Nobody cares.
You said here it's Canadian owned, and that clearly said it's a Chinese car company.
I know. I read it off the article, man. I'm sorry.
Somebody had their facts wrong.
Yeah. Somebody's wrong here. Probably me. I'll take credit.
Okay.
Also, with a name like Chianti, it's probably Chinese.
Quite possibly. So, is that it for your cars?
That's all it for cars, man.
Moving into video game news, the PS5 was not exactly teased, but the executive had an interview about it, and they kind of revealed some details about the PlayStation 5, which is probably going to debut in 2020, maybe later than that. It may or may not be called the PlayStation 5. I feel like at this point, 5 generations in, maybe they should come up with a cool name, a better name.
Like Xbox One.
Right. And it's going to support ray tracing, which if you're not in the computer graphics scene, that's the big new thing. That's why that is the reason, ray tracing is the reason that people are buying $500 or $1,800 graphics cards. Ray tracing is not supported by a lot of video games, but it is supposedly much better, much more realistic.
Is that going to change the frames?
The frame rate?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I think ray tracing is supposed to be more efficient, but there's like no games that support it. So right now it's almost just a theoretical concept. So that's why I want to wait until the next generation of NVIDIA graphics cards, which will probably be the 2100 series, and then ray tracing will be more proven and there will be more games that support it. But until then, it's almost like a gimmick. But I mean, I don't know. Still, though, that's pretty monumental to include ray tracing in a consumer console, which you will be able to get for the fraction of the price of a PC
that's capable of the same thing.
it's capable of more or less the same thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have the PS5 be able to run ray tracing at 4K at least 30 frames per second. Maybe 60 frames per second. Definitely not any higher than that.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty tough for PC or for consoles to push higher frame rates.
Yeah. I mean, the Xbox One X, you can get 4K at 60 frames per second, and that's like $500 or whatever it is now, 400 something. So
I don't think my PC would do 4K at 60.
mine definitely will not. And so, I mean, that's pretty impressive, and that's the advantages that these consoles have is they can pack all that technology in their proprietary or specially designed chips into a tiny box that they can sell for marginal profits because they're selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. And that is the appeal of consoles, is that they're cheap, but consoles are dying.
Yeah.
Consoles are absolutely dying. And this is just, it's not like a gimmick, but it's just kind of a, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why you should buy our thing. So that's where we're going with that. But I think streaming is going to overtake these high-end graphics cards things. So like the Google Stadia that we talked about a couple of weeks back, I mean, that's really going to be the crucial, critical, components to all this stuff.
And also, that's going to make it a lot more affordable because it'll be subscription-based, I assume.
Yes.
$20 a month, even though overall you'll probably pay more, but $20 now is a lot cheaper than just, shelling out $500 for a PS5.
Almost everything in the consumer world is moving that way. I mean, that's how cars and houses have always been, pretty much. You pay a little bit each month and then you get it. But like the first big company that really moved to this model was Adobe. Their Photoshop, their After Effects, their Illustrator, all those programs were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you could buy up front. But now they have moved to a subscription service. So you pay a very little amount of money and you get the platform.
Yeah.
You get all the tools. You get the updates just like forever. And now everything's going that way. I mean, since we're talking about gaming news, the Xbox Game Pass, which is just a couple bucks a month. Actually, no. The introductory rate is $5 a month. I think it's $15 a month. And you get access to all their library or a large library of games.
Almost all of it. There's some things they won't.
Pretty much everything that's in-house Microsoft, and they bought a bunch of little development studios recently, so they're going to be pushing a ton of first-party games in their next generation of hardware whenever that comes out. So, I mean, really what they're looking for is to pay a bunch of money every month and not buy a console. That's what they want.
Gotcha.
Am I going too fast for you?
No, you just haven't blinked yet. You've been staring at me for a solid 5 minutes in that whole spiel. Who is Co?
Co Carnage is a streamer that I used to watch, actually, when I was working at home. He streams between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. usually, and he streams every day. He, at the beginning of April, he finished a streak of streaming for every day for 2,000 days, at least 30 minutes a day. So with 2,000 days, if you can't do the math, is just over 5 years, and he streamed at least 30 minutes a day for 5 years.
That is some major dedication.
Yeah, I mean he's got over 1 million followers, and he's very, very popular. I was watching a particular stream where he announced that his wife was pregnant. He had that day alone over $10,000 in donations for his wife just being pregnant and them announcing it.
Why have I never seen this guy?
Because he only streams, when I'm at work from 8 to 4. And he's a variety streamer. So he streams a lot of different games. He doesn't focus in on one game and become really good at that game. He likes to play a lot of different games. He plays a lot with the community. One of the impressive things is that he pays, I think it's 19 people. He has a staff of 19 people, some of which are salaried, that he pays them because he is making boatloads of money here. But I mean, part of that is obviously his dedication. You cannot say that he's not dedicated.
No.
He had 2 kids in this time.
So he just stayed on stream while his kids were being born?
He didn't stream from the hospital, but I guess he left his wife probably at the hospital to go home and stream.
Boy.
Yeah. But she gets it. I mean, like, all of her money is coming from him streaming, so, and his dedication. I mean, it reminds me of, like...
What if he did a live stream for that? Would you watch it?
Nope. Nobody wants to see that.
I feel like there's somebody out there who would.
Okay, yeah, some people want to see it. I'm not in that boat. I think most people are not in that boat.
I have no desire to ever see a woman give birth.
I'm glad. Hopefully, you never have the opportunity to.
Wait, is that a slight?
Absolutely, it was. It just that reminds me of, like, you watch these movies that the fathers attend the birthing in, like, the 60s and 70s, and they just sit in the lounge and smoke a cigar. Sounds a lot better than having to actually be there. Am I right?
Alexa doesn't care.
Alexa does not care. Either way, a very, very impressive stat. Like, absolutely absurd that this guy went ahead and did that, and it's definitely paid off for him. I mean, he's rolling in the dough. So.
Is he a millionaire?
Probably. I mean, people don't really like to disclose that stuff, but there's no way he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't afford to pay 19 people's salaries and not be a millionaire.
He's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Definitely, for sure. His annual income is reported to be $150,000, while his net worth is around $800,000. I find that very surprising, but that's just, pretty much speculation.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, who's to say he didn't invest all that money?
That is one thing I've noticed about professional gamers is they're a lot more financially sound with their money than, like, other professional...
Oh, like professional athletes?
Yes.
Who just blow it all?
Yeah.
Or people who win the lottery? I heard the other day that most people who are, like, professional athletes and like for a couple of years and get millions and millions of dollars, and people who win the lottery almost always end up broke.
Yeah. So I follow a couple, like, big streamers who've won massive tournaments and gotten, like, $150,000 for winning. And they, like, would tell their stream that they've put $120,000 into their, like, with a financial advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the right thing to do.
It's definitely the right thing to do. That's just, it's so unheard of because, athletes are like, let's go to the bar and spend $10,000 on a hooker.
Yeah, and then killer, hashtag Ray Lewis.
Supposedly.
Allegedly,
he killed her.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, athletes, they just like to ball out. Like, these nerds sitting in their basement, they want to be wealthy for the rest of their life. Yeah. So, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're setting kind of a good example for the people watching them to an extent. I mean,
it's still a good example.
Well, in that aspect, yeah. You shouldn't spend all that money on stuff if you're not going to save any and you can't really afford it. I mean, the average American does not have nearly enough money in their savings account.
Not even close.
And part of that is maybe due to, almost 100% due to life choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all up to life choices.
Yeah. But enough about that. I think we're ready to wrap up. How about you?
Yeah, I know. We're getting some, smoked chicken and jalapeno poppers?
We're getting smoked chicken wings, jalapeno poppers, and burgers.
Yo.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you have a grill because you have to use it.
Oh, I cannot not use it. I don't think
How long can you use it before you say it's paid off?
I think it's paid off, yeah. I'm good with that, yeah.
Oh, you've already said it's paid off? Like, you've used it enough to make it worth your purchase?
Well, I think it's worth the purchase. I wouldn't say financially it's at that point yet.
Gotcha.
But we haven't even, I don't think we've cooked on the stove or on the oven in weeks. Pretty much since we got the grill. Maybe
weeks?
Once. Yeah. Literally weeks.
Literally weeks.
A couple
Just
weeks.
Over weeks.
So
1 week? It's been 1 week.
It's been, all right. This just in. It's only been a week. Yet I've smoked twice on it and grilled like 3-4 times on it.
And on that disappointment,
we're going to wrap up now. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have any tips, suggestions, feedback, things you would like to hear us discuss on the podcast, or must-watch chick flicks for Zach, please don't hesitate to send us an email at launchspeedpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us through social media. If you want to support us and get some awesome merch, head on over to our Teespring page and get some bear gear, because everybody likes bears. Thank you to all of our patrons, which right now I believe is Casey, Rob, Doug, and Brian. If you want to get stickers, shout-outs, bonus content, help us out by subscribing to some of our tiers starting at a measly $2 a month.
we have more than one tier?
We do.
What is the other ones?
We have 3 tiers. Bear Enthusiast at $2 a month, Advanced Bearologist at $5 a month, and the Ultimate Bear Launcher at $10 a month. Those are our 3 tiers.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm doing it for ourselves, so I can be an ultimate bear launcher.
Exactly. If you want to help support us, then go over to our Patreon page, which will be linked in the description. Your contributions help to keep the content rolling and the beer flowing. As always, reach out to us. We enjoy hearing your feedback, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, guys. It was a good one.
It was a good one.